What do you think the biggest thing that they like the kids coming in like obstacle in terms of that? You know, like getting over the hump. I remember going as a freshman in college and just feeling like a deer in the headlights. And I remember there being like this kind of moment of like realization. You know, is it like the academics? Is it, you know, all of a sudden now you're 18 years old playing with a bunch of 23-year-old men? Because I'll tell you, I was a lot more mature at 23 than I was at 18. I mean, the difference between 23 and 30 wasn't as big as it was between 18 and 23. So what do you think the biggest thing that you encounter with these kids is?
I think it's all of it. So when you take a kid out of an environment where he's a big fish in a small pond, and he knows everybody, he's got great relationships with everybody, everybody knows him, he's kind of the mayor, so to speak. Then you put him in an environment where the training is mandatory, doing what he's supposed to do for the academics is mandatory, having all the engagements that they have to be at is mandatory. And all of a sudden, you're in a position where you're up early training, and we have populated your day, every single hour of your day until 5, 6, or 7 o'clock at night. And now the things that you might have been able to do before, you're no longer able to do, because by the time you get home, you're dog tired. You want to go to sleep knowing that you've got to do it again the next day. They don't really know you. You haven't really established a relationship with them. They don't know what to expect, which is a huge deal. And so now all of a sudden they're in this world where it's a regimented schedule, right? And it's all the way through. And that's the biggest thing that I see where, and you know this, every freshman is going to pass that moment of thinking about, I want to go home. Home is comfortable. It's everything comfortable in your life. And when you're here, that first bit of being here is extremely uncomfortable because of all the demand that you have on you. And then there are the expectations. Like you said, you're 18, you're a highly touted or highly recruited kid coming in here, and all of a sudden you realize that the dudes playing your position are 21, 22, 23 years old. They're grown men. And you're like, okay, I'm no longer the best player on the roster. You know, the stress of all that and dealing with it and managing it, I think is huge in getting to an 18-year-old. And we tell them all the time, when they get out of here and they get to the quiet and they get to their room, their dorm, wherever they're at, they're all going to think about how comfortable it was when they were home or when they were in high school. And that's the voice on the left shoulder, like, man, you don't have to do it. They all have it, but you're all going to come to the point where you're thinking about that. You got to quiet the voice and get used to being uncomfortable. It's about, when am I going to be used to that they're always going to try to make me uncomfortable? And when you get used to that and you accept that, I think that's where they get over the hump. And that usually happens sometime toward the middle or the end of their freshman year, maybe going into that sophomore year. You can tell there's kind of that they've been through that adjustment period now, and they want to help other guys that are going through the same thing. So to me, I think it's all of it. I think it's the demand of everything and the expectations.